Hi all and welcome back. Today I'm looking at Middle-earth: Shadow of War and whether it's still worth playing in 2026. After rewatching the Lord of the Rings extended editions, I wanted something playable in that universe, and most of the older games just aren't easily available anymore. This one is, and because it's old, you can usually pick it up with all the DLC for just a few bucks. Shadow of War originally released in 2017, but it still feels surprisingly unique today. You play as Talion, a ranger bound to Celebrimbor, trying to take control of Mordor by building your own army and challenging Sauron's rule. So yeah, this is not lore accurate at all. That uniqueness largely comes from the nemesis system, which Warner Bros. Patented, meaning no other game has really been able to copy it properly. On top of that, while Assassin's Creed moved toward heavier RPG structures, Shadow of War stayed much more systems-driven. At its core, Shadow of War plays like an Assassin's Creed-style open-world action game in how it controls. You run, climb, and jump around Mordor, then flow into fast melee fights against groups of orcs using counters, dodges, and executions. The focus isn't on clearing areas, but on hunting captains. You can gather intel first by targeting specific orcs to learn where a captain is and what they're weak to. Skip that step, and you might find out the hard way that your opening arrow does nothing, giving the captain time to counter, adapt, and call in a flood of reinforcements. As you level up, you unlock more ways to deal with captains. You can summon Gondorian soldiers to help you out, or jump into an elven rage and wipe out groups of basic orcs in a few seconds. The nemesis system sits on top of all of that. Captains can survive encounters, remember what happened, and later come back specifically to hunt you down. There's also a real hierarchy behind the scenes. When you kill a captain, another orc gets promoted to take their place. And if that promotion happened because of you, they remember that too.
The result is that enemies don't just exist on the map. They react to your actions, hold grudges, and actively try to get revenge. It makes the world feel more alive and less like just a playground. All of that feeds directly into the second half of the loop, taking control of a region. Instead of simply killing captains, you can dominate them and build your own orc army. That army is what allows you to dismantle a fortress from the inside, weaken its defenses, and eventually launch a full siege. These sieges aren't just set pieces. Who you recruited, which captains you placed in key roles, and how much you sabotaged beforehand directly determines whether the fight stays manageable or collapses into chaos. Because the game is so systems-driven, things can also get a bit janky or weird at times. Systems collide, captains show up at the worst possible moment, orcs interrupt fights you thought were contained, and situations can spiral fast. Sometimes orcs will fully spot you, half the area comes after you, and you can still just sprint to your objective and keep progressing anyway. It can feel messy, but that looseness is part of how the game works. You're usually better off rolling with the chaos than trying to play everything perfectly. Combat itself is fast and fluid, clearly inspired by the Arkham games. Early on, you unlock a wide set of tools, things like vaulting over enemies, pinning orcs in place, chaining executions, freezing or stunning targets, and mixing in ranged attacks mid-fight. The game doesn't always force you to use all of that, though. If you rely on the same few moves, fights can start to feel repetitive over time. But if you actively switch things up and use the full toolkit, combat stays much more engaging. A lot of encounters still escalate from stealth into large brawls. Whether that feels good or exhausting mostly depends on how creatively you play.
There is a story, and it's more present than in Shadow of Mordor, with more cutscenes and recurring characters. The main story missions form the spine of the game, but they're fairly straightforward in structure. Most of the time, you're sent from one location to another to kill a specific target, defend an area, or trigger a short encounter before moving on. Compared to the unpredictable situations created by the nemesis system, these missions are more scripted and linear, focused on pushing the story and its characters forward. The biggest thing to be aware of is the endgame. After the main story, the game shifts into a series of fortress defenses known as the Shadow Wars. While this mode was shortened and rebalanced after launch,
it's still built around repeating sieges, rebuilding armies, and managing losses over time. That structure was originally designed around monetization, and even without microtransactions, some of that repetition remains. Whether that feels grindy or engaging depends on how much you enjoy the army management side of the game. Visually, Shadow of War definitely looks its age. Don't get me wrong, it's still fine, but lighting can feel flat, textures aren't always impressive, and environments can blur together a bit. The upside of that is performance. The game runs very smoothly, even on modest systems, and large-scale battles with dozens of enemies on screen rarely tank the frame rate. It may not wow you visually anymore, but it feels solid and responsive. So whether Shadow of War is worth it really comes down to what you enjoy. If you like systems-driven games where enemies react to your actions, where failure creates new situations instead of just a reload, and where you're okay with some jank along the way, this still holds up surprisingly well. If you're mainly looking for tight mission design, a polished narrative experience, or something that strictly follows Tolkien lore, this probably isn't it. For me, though, it is. I love that this is a systems-driven evolution from Assassin's Creed.
That gets a unique flavor because of the nemesis system. On top of that, you feel that Talion becomes noticeably stronger, and you learn from your mistakes. The combination of these factors works extremely well and makes it super fun to mess around in this world. That's it. If you like videos that don't waste your time, please consider liking and subscribing. And thanks for watching.